Chapter 1. The Beginning of Friendship. The streets of Karachi buzzed with life as Ayla raced down the lane, her braids flying behind her. At 11, she had a knack for finding trouble and dragging others into it, particularly her next-door neighbor, Zayan. At 17, Zayan was her hero, a figure she looked up to as much as she teased. "You're late?" Ayla called out, spotting Zayan in the veranda of his family's home. Hunched over a book, Zayan looked up, a small smile forming on his lips. "Late for what? Another one of your grand adventures?" he teased, putting down his pen. "Yes, you promised you'd help me build a kite." "Come on, Zayan!" Ayla tugged at his arm, her enthusiasm contagious. Zayan shook his head but relented, following her to their favorite spot by the big neem tree in the courtyard. The two spent hours together, Zayan patiently guiding her through every step of kite-making while Ayla filled the air with chatter. For her, Zayan was more than a neighbor. He was the older brother she never had, a steady and calming presence in her chaotic, noisy world. But Zayan's world wasn't as steady as Ayla thought. His mother, a kind and gentle woman who treated Ayla like one of her own, had been sick for months. The adults spoke about it in hushed tones, their words heavy with worry. Ayla didn't fully understand, but she noticed how Zayan's smiles didn't reach his eyes as often, and how he spent more time at the mosque, deep in prayer. One night, everything changed. The call came late, jolting both households awake. Zayan's mother had been rushed to the hospital again. Ayla and her family stood by helplessly, watching as Zayan and his father left in a flurry of panic. Ayla prayed harder than she ever had before, clutching her hands tightly and whispering words she barely understood. By dawn, the news spread. Zayan's mother had passed away. The days after her death were a blur. Zayan withdrew into himself, barely speaking to anyone, his once vibrant eyes now clouded with grief. Ayla tried to cheer him up, bringing him small gifts, a flower, a piece of her favorite candy, but nothing seemed to reach him. 2 weeks later, Ayla overheard the news. Zayan's father had decided to move the family to London, hoping for a fresh start. The weight of the decision crushed Ayla. She couldn't imagine life without Zayan. The evening before he left, Ayla found him in their usual spot by the neem tree, staring at the horizon. "You're leaving," she said softly, her voice trembling. Zayan nodded, his expression distant. "It's what my father thinks is best." Ayla held out a small notebook filled with her sketches, drawings of their favorite memories. "Take this, so you don't forget." Zayan's voice broke as he whispered, "I'll never forget you, Ayla, not in a million years." The next morning, Ayla stood at her gate, watching as the car drove Zayan away, taking her closest friend and the last piece of her childhood.